If you've ever watched superstars like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, or Steve Jobs hogging the headlines and thinking, I could never be a business rock star like them, you're completely wrong. I'm going to show you exactly how you do it on this podcast. Welcome to Speak on Stage. Welcome back to the show. My name's Dave Crane. As you probably guessed, I've got to say hi to all the many people that keep coming up to me in shopping malls and stuff and saying, hi Dave, I've watched your show. That's not actually what happens. What people do is they go, I know you, don't I? Or I've seen you before, where do I know you? And that's kind of like either stalking talk, or I'm a stalker for them, I have been in the past, or I owe them money. Or I don't know what it is, but sometimes people say it. But I'm really grateful that you watch the show. It's Dave Crane Speak on Stage. You can say that bit, I know exactly we have a relationship. Anything that involves pointing and stroking chin and saying to your friends, no, don't do that. It's kind of creepy. Right, so get back to the show. I did promise to teach you a number of different things, and that's what I intend to do. How to be a business rock star. And you're thinking, Dave, what's that mean, being a business rock star? I go to my job, I sit at my desk, I do my stuff, and I go home, watch Netflix, have my dinner, walk the dog or walk the cat or walk the gerbil. You would have to walk a gerbil very far. Walk the mouse. Where? Around the table. Do you have a lead? No, it's got a bit of string. Do you use a wrist string really on a mouse? No, just flick it. That's probably cruel. Shouldn't say stuff like that. But anyway, the point is that for many people are thinking, I couldn't be a rock star. Not certainly in business, but that's exactly why you should consider it, because here's what I'm going to share with you. Right now, rock stars aren't rock stars. They are kind of, but there's a really difficult industry to be in now when you're in music, because people on TikTok and on different types of social media, the record companies have disappeared. You can do your own thing. It's all over the place. Same as being a movie star or being a TV show star. All those things are blended in together. But what people pay attention to, two things really. They love to see sports stars who still create great outlines and headlines, and people love them because of who they are and what they do. But also they love business people who have great methodology for creating new stuff that people go, wow, I love that. I want some. I want to pay for that. I want to see how you did it. I want to follow you. I want to stalk you. Read magazines, articles all about where you came from and what you're doing to move forward and all that kind of stuff. People love that. And so that's why it's relatively easy to become and see yourself as a business rock star. And I know you can ask questions going, yeah, but that's different. You got to do all these things to make a fortune and invent something that nobody's ever invented before. And I don't think you do. I think you've got enough expertise, and I'll explain to you exactly why as we progress with this show. This joined us, by the way, Speak on Stage is the show. It's a podcast. You can see it's all over the place. You can go to Spotify, and we're there. Go to Apple iTunes, which I think still exists, and we're there. You can go to our own special, our own website, Speak on Stage, and you get all the back catalogue of stuff. And it's there as well as a podcast for you to listen to in a car or when you're just doing stalky things that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so that's the show. A couple of things for you. Freebies here. If you are interested in becoming an industry icon and a thought leader, get your phone out. Have you got your phone? So it's like that. Well, not shining like that, but you hold it up and you get your QR code and you point it at the QR code, which is that box with all the squares on, and I'll make it slightly bigger. Can you do it like that? I'm probably going to be on it. No, try it like that. Oh, Dave's gone completely, but we can do it. It's too late. So what you do is you get a copy of that and you register. And there's a special downloadable PDF there. And also you get to find out about how to become an industry icon, which I'll talk about a little bit more later on. Meanwhile, also, we run our WhatsApp courses, which is our Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenges. The last one we did was I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, how to do really well on LinkedIn, how to master LinkedIn. 5 days, completely free, got a big community, almost 350 people now. Went up about 50 since last time. And you're welcome to join that. Just go to the QR code here. And you'll be able to see it. If I go here, that's the wrong way. So I'm going to go here, and that's where, go up a bit, hide my face. That's where you got to click. Okay, so click on that, or basically what happens is when you hold your phone up, I'll do that again, then you get a yellow bar that moves around like a gold brick, and you've got to smack it with your finger, and then it opens up a website. If you're on the internet, if you're not on the internet, it probably won't do anything at all. It'll probably just be a photo of my head and that weird QR code thing. But you get a chance to join. You will be invited in to join, but I will tell you one thing. Here's the thing. Right, I protect everybody that I work with as best as I can. I like to be as transparent and as honest and as genuine as I can with people. So if you're on WhatsApp, and most people are kind of on WhatsApp nowadays, please, please, please make sure that you leave your name in the profile. Don't just leave it blank, because I won't let you in. I'm doing a cull. That sounds like a terrible thing to say. But I'm getting rid of all the people in the group who don't have their contact details on and their name, because then I can't address them. And also, if there's anything that happens that's bad between two members of the group, then how am I going to tell who did what? Because I've got no idea who they are. But if you put your name, your contact details in, then I can tell who you are. I can also get people to refer to you and help you as well. And that means I can look at your LinkedIn profile and see how we can help you. It's an ongoing thing. It's a free membership community, and you're very welcome to join if you like that kind of thing. And of course, so far, 350 people do. We're going to take it to 1,000 people. We are. And you're invited to that as well. Am I speaking too quickly today? Should I slow it down? Isn't it amazing when I stop speaking? There we go. Okay, so that's our next course starting soon. Make sure you register and join us there. I mute the group until we start again. Why do you do that, Dave? So stop the spam. Everybody spams. Everyone says, this is my website, buy stuff. No, just stop it. I'm there to teach you, and you're there to learn, and there to connect, and blah, blah, blah. All right, next up is this. If you're interested in this new idea of rebranding over 50, I'll explain exactly why you need to be, then you need to join our Game Changers community. It is a paid membership, but you get a ton of really good stuff there, all about how to grow your personality, as in your speaking personality, your on stage, your online, your ability to brand, connect with your community, create a community of yourself and your people, get over imposter syndrome, and a ton of other resources there. Plus, we've got people from all around the world. So imagine what I told you all about the WhatsApp group. This is one that goes much deeper into getting results for you, and it's dedicated, and we meet on a regular basis, at least once a month, to brainstorm how to make things better. In fact, it's gone on now we've been together for about 1.5+ years, and now the members are doing masterclasses. That will be the precursor to their speaking career when we take it out on the road. So everybody who's joined, doesn't matter what level they are, by the time they've been doing it for a short period of time, they're able to go out and earn as a speaker, or as a trainer, or as a mentor, or even just write a book. All those stuff are included in the group. Cool? Good. All right, next. So welcome to the show. It took a long time to get to this bit because I did promise to get through the housekeeping, and indeed I have. With this show, as always, talk to me. What do you mean by that, Dave? Well, very simple. If you're watching it live now, then please make sure that you let me know that you're there. Say hi without the hand. Just type it in, hi, Dave. And tell me where you're watching it from. If you're from the UK or from America or from Europe or from... It doesn't matter. I'm happy to connect with everybody. We've got everybody around the world who pops in and says hi. Some people have just woken up, which is fine, depending on the part of the world they're at. And other people are just going to bed because they've pulled. So wherever you are, let me know. And it's always fascinating to see what the range of people are. And if you've got questions, by the way, feel free to ask me. I will answer them properly if they're sort of sent to me while we're going out live, if I can, if I'm not already working on this agenda stuff that I've got to cover. But I do go back through the comments, and so don't worry if it's a replay. I will look at your answers or your questions or your insights and answer them, unless they're ridiculous. If you say something really embarrassing, like, Dave, I'm going to eat your shoes, probably no comment, maybe a slight delete. Actually, I wouldn't. I keep that because it's kind of funny. All right, so what is a rock star? A rock star, by definition, is somebody who makes their industry turn around and pay attention because what they do is significant. Now, here's the thing, and I should have had a graphic for this to illustrate it. If you think about all the rock stars that have ever been, you've got rock stars who are like your Def Leppards and your Slash, Guns N' Roses, Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin, and work with them. But all these guys go out, big guitars, big hair, and everyone just headbangs like that, but with more hair and possibly less of a sore neck. And that's perceived as rock, but also rap is like rock. That's why it merges so all together. Dance music is like rock. Folk music is like rock. And in their days, classical music writers and creators like Beethoven and I'm trying to think of another one, other ones were all created and seen as rock stars. So Rockstar isn't just for people with big guitars. It's for anybody who's doing something that they make a difference and an impact. And with every big rock star, they do something that you go, wow, that's a great album, that's a great song. But they also do stuff that's very personal to them that not everybody buys into in the same way. And that's part of your artistic journey, and it's just as important. And this also fits into movies. If you're a movie director, sometimes you'll see guys like Steven Spielberg doing these incredible, big, heartfelt, wow, blockbuster movies. Then they'll do a little quiet one, which isn't as big, but it's very personal to them. And most directors do this, and they call it a palette cleanse. So you know when you're painting and you're doing all the painting, and then once you finish, you've got to clean the palette off with all the paints and then start again. There's a cleansing of a palette that goes in with that, with music, with any kind of artistry. So that's why everybody does that palette cleanse and does weird stuff that sometimes doesn't fit in. So I digress to the original thing, which is how you are a rock star. Well, how long have you been in business? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you've been in a job that time, or you changed different jobs and so on. At some point you found something that you really liked, or you're good at doing, or it pays the bills quite well. And you get to a level of expertise. Well, that, compared to the people who are not as good as you, positions you as a business rock star. Now, you're not a rock star, you're an enthusiast, but if you went into a bar, or into a restaurant, or walking around a park, and you found somebody with a guitar, playing music, would you say they're a rock star? No, you'd probably say no, but they're a musician and I enjoy watching them play. Ha ha ha! See what we did there? You don't have to be in the charts to be a musician. You don't have to be in front of a massive audience to be a rock star. It starts inside and spills out as you go on. So that's what a rock star is. And what drives it? Well, let me show you what it's like when I was working with rock stars. Not a rock star myself necessarily, but if you do enough gigs, then it kind of rubs off a little bit. I'm going to show you, this is one of the gigs I did for Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi in the UAE.
I'm Dave Crane, I'm the MC for tonight. This is a phenomenal gig, absolutely brilliant. Suddenly, looking at the lineup of all the stars coming to the UAE, it's just like a complete chart of everything that's happening around the world musically. And that's why you got all the big stars coming here, and it's really put Abu Dhabi on the map.
Hey, I'm Kelly Rowland in Abu Dhabi.
Yo, you know how we do this. It's Sean Paul, the girls, I'm overall locking it down in Abu Dhabi.
So I've worked a lot of gigs like that, worked with big stars and so on. And over the years, I've worked with, everybody. But the point is that when you get involved in that kind of industry, people do perceive it as rock. But I think that rock music is great, and I love it, whatever kind of music it is. But I really think that business is the new rock music. In fact, I'll go as far as to prove it by showing you some stuff in a moment where we teach you the mindset. Now, I have worked with amongst the many rappers and big stars, Kanye West. I've never shown this footage before. I'm only going to show a tiny bit. Why am I only showing you a tiny bit? Because I don't want to get sued by Kanye West. There's a little bit of Kanye West I'm going to show you in a second. And then the gig I was doing, just to prove I've worked with these guys. And this is the footage, only lasts for a short amount of time, and I'm going to get it over and done with now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about 3 seconds of Kanye West.
Never be another number one young ho. I'm so hungry.
Working an audience is easy. You just have to show you care. When you get the Wi-Fi code of what makes them tick, you can take them on a journey of excellence and excitement and engagement. And as long as they believe that you care what's in it for them, they'll follow you around the world. Learn to speak on stage.
There you go, not great footage, but it still counts. as doing the gig with Kanye West. I have got loads of footage of him singing on stage and rapping and all the rest of it, but I won't show it because I've got a Kanye West story. And you're thinking, Dave, spill the tea, tell me everything. And I can't tell you anything. Why? Because he sues people and he makes weird decisions sometimes, you might have noticed. And he's not bothered about the fact he'll lose billions as a direct result of doing it. And I don't want to get into trouble of a physical or financial kind by saying things about it. I think he's an amazing artist, really talented. On stage, he just wowed everybody. And it was an honor and a pleasure to be working with him and his rather pushy and possibly unsocial entourage. Moving on, Rockstar mindset is what you need. Whatever business you're in, it doesn't matter whether you're a tailor, soldier, tinker. I don't know even what a tinker is. What's a tinker do? You have to Google that. But you know what I'm talking about. So, whatever, candlestick maker. Who makes candles anyway? You've got your phone. Where's my phone gone? Just press that thing there. The light comes on. Happy days. That works really well on a podcast. Audio, maybe not so well. But I did it if you listen to the podcast. So whatever job you're in, there is room for you to set yourself up as an expert, as a thought leader, and as a rock star. And that's why I'm talking about all this stuff. But it starts in your mind with a rock star mindset. So what is that? Well, first of all, I was at an event the other day. I'm not going to show you footage, but it's a dear friend of mine, Jim Berry, and his gorgeous wife, Lulu. She was celebrating her 70th birthday. And at this incredible event, there were many of the movers and shakers from the expat community who helped to grow Dubai over the 30 years or so that I'd been there. So I was eligible because I'd been, friends with Jim and Lulu, but also I'd done lots of entertainment stuff, running rugby sevens for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. So I got recognized, but everyone I looked around and recognized was a massive hitter in their industry. And they're all a little bit older now. I mean, I was probably one of the youngest in the group, and I'm clearly not a spring chicken, but it didn't really matter because everybody had earned their right to be there. And also the conversations that they had were so fascinating to jump into because everyone had their own lane, they had their own industry and their own vision of how things have been in the past and how they should be in the future. And so just any of those conversations were pure gold. In fact, I don't remember being in a room full of so many important people who actually proven their worth. And they're all rock stars, but rock stars in their industry. That's my whole point. And when you are 50 plus, a big challenge for many people approaching 50 or even before that, but certainly after, is the amount of people are losing their jobs. They're getting sidelined, pushed to one side, treated like they shouldn't be there anymore because of younger, cheaper labor that comes in. And I don't mean disrespect to you if you're younger or you're cheaper, but the older you get, the more baggage you have. You usually have families, you've got to pay more for your medical. Of course, your holidays are important. It's not just you going on holiday. You're less willing to spend money on a credit card because you know you have to pay it back. A lot of people don't know that, but we do, don't we? Yes, we do. And also, there's different things like the fact you're not wanting to spend so much money. You want to save it because you know you're getting older and you've got to think about retirement, pensions, blah, blah, blah. So there's a mindset that's very different. And so many companies can't handle it. So that kind of leaves a challenge for everybody who's a bit older. If you're finding yourself around about the age of 50, this could be worrying you a lot. And that's why I'm dedicating these next couple of shows to reinventing yourself and rebranding yourself at the age of 50, positioning yourself as a rock star that people can then connect with and people want to do business with. And you're probably thinking, Dave, I'm not a rock star. It's false. It's not. You are brilliant at what you do. You've just never been trained to do more with it. Why? Take us all the way back to school, many, many thousands of years ago in some cases. You were told to sit down and shut up, and you were told to stick with it because at the end of the day, you'll get a job. Working in a bank, working in a factory, working somewhere. Those qualifications will be really good for you. And if you can get a degree, you'll get a top-level job. Now, that's not true anymore. There's no guarantee anywhere that you will get a job. But what does hold true is the system didn't set you up for being a rock star. It set you up for just being one of many people in a job that trusts the boss to look after us. Well, you're probably the boss now. And if you're not, then you've been treated badly by lots of bosses. And you've probably been thinking about, how do I start a side hustle? Something I've always wanted to do at the side of my job. I don't want to leave my job yet, but I know that it's not guaranteed to be there for me. So how do I turn around and create something special that sits alongside it? That bit there is a rock star mentality. It's like having a side business or hobby of some description. or starting a band at school. This is what I'm talking about, but with the Rockstar mentality. So rebranding yourself at the age of 50 plus is not just a good idea, it's your essential retirement plan. Because the odds are you're going to go from the age of 50 up to about 80, 90, maybe even 100. Your pension's not going to cover it. Unless you made millions and millions during your career, the odds are you're still spending it. You're going out after the pandemic or whatever. Your teenage kids are now grown up, but they're still kind of living at home and coming back and saying, "Mom, can I have dinner? Can I borrow some money? Can I borrow the car? Oh, I've crashed it. Can I have another one?" Stuff like that. Your kids are crazy. Get rid of them. They can't get rid of your kids. Anyway, going back to it, the point is that you realize that you can't just retire at the age of 65 like everybody says. You have to keep going. But how do you keep going when you haven't got your job anymore? That's what I'm dedicating this part of what I do to be able to help you to do, to rebrand yourself. Does that make sense? Yes, Dave. Good. Well, in that case, you need to join my communities and rewind to the beginning of this show and start joining all the different things I've been talking about, because they're really essential for you to be able to get yourself in that space. So let's get into it. Let's talk about rebranding yourself. What's the thing? First of all, that rock stars have unshakable confidence. What's that mean? Well, you read it. Unshakable confidence means that you go out there and say, "This is me," and that's why so many rock stars are addicts, because it's not always easy to go high and low, depending on what you got to perform. For me, from the point of view of what I do as an entertainer, I'm a massive introvert, and you wouldn't believe this from watching the shows and the podcasts and the footage of me doing stuff. But what it is when you're on stage, you run the room. A room is a phrase I use for whether you're on stage at a stadium or in a boardroom or just on a theatre, or it doesn't matter. You're in the room. But when you're not doing that, you'd be unbearable if you still had the same amount of energy and interaction with people. You'd be too loud, too much in people's faces, and that's what a lot of comedians have a challenge with. Many of the best comedians in the world are actually manic depressives and have gone through real challenges because they can't be funny all the time to the same people. And it's a balance of getting it right, so you're up there and out there. Many of the top entertainers are actually massive introverts and extroverts, depending whether there's an audience and a stage to deal with. Does that make sense? Good. Okay, so your unshakable confidence is switched on and off as and when you need it. Next up, visionary thinking. You have to be able to think about whatever is inside you that you really want to share with the world. You've got to believe that it will help the world, and there's people that need it and want it. And I know you're thinking now, yeah, but Dave, I'm just a clerk, or I'm just a manager, or I'm just a supervisor, or I started a business that licks stamps. You're probably unemployed. Not sure if a stamp-licking business still should work, but maybe it does. Maybe it's just a thing, weird thing. But let's choose a different example. I'll edit it out when I look at the video. So whatever your role is, you're an expert at it. And you're thinking, but Dave, who's going to have an interest in that? People just starting out in that business want people who have done it before, who can show them the ins and outs of doing it properly. This is where you lick. No, let's just dump that bit now and move on. So you are a rock star. You just probably hadn't thought of it like that. So you've got to think like a visionary. Where does that take you? And if you had the opportunity to take it somewhere, where would it be? All right, next up, resilience amongst chaos. If you've been in business for more than 5 seconds, whether you're working for somebody or working on your own business, you'll realize that we've had challenges, whether it's a recession or a pandemic, or people have left, or there's automation and AI. All the time things change. That's why it's so important that you can reinvent yourself and deal with it. And if you've done it, that's a major play. Most people by this age have done it, but they just see it as, yeah, I had to. They don't think about the fact that maybe, just maybe, the steps that they took to get over that challenge was something that's transferable, that they can share with other people who'll turn around and say, yeah, I want to hire you for that, or I want to learn from you on how to get that particular challenge and deal with it. I never for a second thought we'd be talking about a pandemic, a global pandemic that would keep people in their houses for almost 2 years. How could that possibly happen? But it did. And for many people in entertainment, I've talked to many friends recently who are entertainers, speakers, singers in bands, whatever it is, and they've gone through the worst challenges, and many of them don't work in the industry anymore. Because what do you do if you're trained to work audiences and you don't have them anymore? So your resilience is really important. Next up is a drive for mastery. Whenever you get out there and you start becoming an artist at what you do, you want to be better and better at what you do. Because otherwise you don't get paid so much. Otherwise you're just the same as everybody else. Unless you do it as a hobby, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what you've done in your job is you've been working for mastery. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're an accountant or you're a dentist or you're a salesperson. You get paid better as you elevate yourself up the food chain. True? So why are you not rewarding yourself for that expertise? Because I've never thought of it like that. I know, that's why I'm here to help you and make you think differently. Next on the list is constantly creative. You come up with new stuff, new ways. And you might brainstorm it with your team. You might be working on your own. You just say, that'd be more efficient if I do it this way. Or you get stuff in advance and you stockpile it. Or you know that the best time to work is at this time, or maybe the contacts of the clients that you work with. You've managed to really work out the best way to do it. So you become really creative in your own industry. That's important. That's key. Next up, great joint venture projects. If you think about some of the best songs of all time, you think about Dancing the Street of Mick Jagger and David Bowie, or even Queen and David Bowie, Under Pressure. Think about all the songs that you love where you got two artists working together. One is a producer, one's a singer, or sometimes they rap together. Doesn't matter. Some of the great collaborations have been done in music, been done in movies. Every movie you've got an actor and a director. It's a collaboration, it's a JV. In your business, you have clients. You work together and create something really special. And when you get a new client, you work with them to create something really special. Whether they're buying your products or buying your services or your expertise or your consultants, you have got exactly what this is. Great JV projects. You just hadn't considered it like that. See how the Rockstar stuff is falling into place. You know your audience. Every single rock star knows their audience. Otherwise, they wouldn't have managed to connect. They go out making music. They go out doing stuff. Artists, one of the biggest challenges, look at who do you think is the best artist of all time? Now, I'm not a huge fan of his work, but I can appreciate that he was very special. Vincent van Gogh. Now, he wasn't a rock star per se, because of a simple fact that, he couldn't really put on headphones because he only had one ear. But the point I'm talking about is in his day, he was producing the best art that possibly to date, the biggest critics are turning around and saying, you know what, he was amazing. What was missing? He didn't have an audience, didn't know who to reach, who to connect to. So he got massively depressed, and in the end, I think he took his own life. Is that true? I'm not sure. I should Google it before I start talking about it. Next week, we'll talk about Vincent van Gogh. Or is it Van Gogh? I'm not sure. Depends how you say it. I should check that as well, shouldn't I? But it doesn't matter. The point is that if he knew how to be a rock star, he'd be able to do it from the very beginning. Look at what the TikTokers are doing. Look what YouTubers are doing. All the influencers. They might not even have great substance on what they're talking about, but they understand the marketing process of influencing and persuading people to pay attention. And that's what people like rock stars like Van Gogh didn't have in the past. But you can have now. You just haven't thought of doing it. I know you're probably thinking, social media, Dave. Can I do it without social media? No, you can't. But there are ways of enhancing it and making it easier for yourself as well. So you know your audience, and of course you're 100% authentic. Whatever you share, whatever you talk about, you know it's true. Why would you lie about it? You're there to help people to get to where they need to be. And that's why it's so crucial. Scaling it and amplification, blowing up your message so it goes to more people. Influence is important. You can still do stuff for yourself. You can still do stuff for your small group of customers and friends and family and so on. But it's really important, if you want to do well in business, to find out where your target audience is. And you can do stuff online. You can connect digitally. You can have stuff sent around the world through logistics. And people will pay for that to arrive. So there's lots of different options. So you really need to know about your scaling and your amplification of your message and of your product so you can reach more people. Then there's a showmanship, your ability to stand on stage and talk, or your ability to deliver really good content, really good quality products. Showmanship in terms of business can be just a packaging. Think about when you get an iPhone. When I get an iPhone, it comes in a white box. The white box is over there. I haven't thrown it away. Why haven't I thrown it away? Because I'm a messy, scruffy man. No. I haven't thrown it away because it's a work of art. You pick up the iPhone and this box or iWatch or whatever it is, and you open it and things pop up and you take it out and you delicately put it to one side, and it's just like Christmas. You're opening up something very special because they understand the importance of a showmanship in business. If you've got great customer service, you've already done that. If you're working in the hospitality industry, you understand showmanship doesn't have to be standing on a stage and holding a microphone and going, thank you very much, give us a thank you, good night, London, or wherever you are. Showmanship is in every single time that you have a touch point to your customers or your clients or your staff or your shareholders. Doesn't matter. You've still got showmanship at the heart of all those different elements. And then you take calculated risks. Well, think about that. How many times have you been in charge of the inventory and you see something new that's coming into the market and you say, right, actually, I'm going to have some of that. I think it's a good idea. It might not work yet. Or maybe you say, I'm going to put AI across my board. I'm going to do AI everywhere. Or maybe I won't do AI. I'm going to be more practical because I like the fact it's signature that everyone does. Got direct customer relationships. And I don't want that to be automated because that's where the magic is in our relationship with everybody who's invested in working with us in the past. And I think it's going to be the same in the future. All the time, you make calculated risks. But what I say is jump and grow wings on the way down. That's my way of doing it. But you do that. You're already a rock star. But there's also a dark side to everything that goes on with being a rock star. And you hear the stories where it's Slash, Guns N' Roses, or virtually everybody's got a really dark side to them. I was watching that incredible documentary about David Beckham, the Beckhams, and I didn't realize he had OCD. I didn't realize that there's a number of things that he has to do as a routine all the time. You see him, you say, wow, David Beckham, one of the biggest stars on the planet, certainly in sports stars, one of the best paid, best looking, gorgeous family, talented wife, everything's great. But there's a dark side, there's a challenge, and there's that for everybody. And sometimes that can be very seductive, that can be very interesting. In fact, let's talk about the dark side to be precise. You have a dark side, I've got a dark side. When you're doing script writing, which I don't expect you to do for movies or for TV shows, that dark side is called a core wound. A core wound. And every time that you watch a movie or a TV show, the script writers know to put that core wound, that thing that's a real challenge, front and center as soon as possible so everybody understands who the hero is and what they... Excuse me. My core wound is I sneeze while doing a podcast. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to keep it there forever, for 50 years, 100 years. And I'll go back because I'll be an AI and I'll remove it from the digital footprint. Don't know what. So I was watching a movie and they kind of did stuff like that. So anyway, going back to where I was before, you have to be able to then understand the dark side. So it's a core wound that everybody deals with. But when you watch a movie or a TV show, everybody's got a core wound. If you think about Spider-Man, Peter Parker's core wound was that Uncle Ben, his great father figure, passed in front of him because of the fact he didn't save him because he avoided being Spider-Man. You've got the challenge of Batman. Parents died. Clark Kent lost his entire race and then got brought up in the countryside with as an orphan with all his superpowers that made him really weird to everybody. He couldn't tell anybody. He had to hide it from everyone. Every single Luke Skywalker, Jedi, but on his own, adopted. A lot of them are orphans, to be honest with you. It's probably lazy script writing. But the whole point is we're getting over this core wound. And everyone's got them because that fear drives you. In business, that fear drives you. That fear might be looking after your family, paying your bills, dying without getting to a point where you've really succeeded. Or maybe you're against the clock. Maybe you're constantly fighting to make sure when you look at your bills at the end of a month and they're coming in, you say, I've got to keep going to make this grow. It's not good enough to make them balance. I've got to make sure that I go to higher levels. Fear is a driver in so many things. Don't let it kill you. Don't let it burn you. Don't let it do too much damage, but let it inspire you to move forward. And as a rock star, every single rock star goes through that. Why do you think the Rolling Stones are on stage doing all the stuff they do at 80 plus? They're not doing it because they need the money. Nobody's that stupid enough to spend it. What do you do? I just give it away to people. How do you do that? I was driving a car and threw out my Mick Jagger voice. I'm driving the car and threw out the window. Doesn't sound like Mick Jagger at all. I've got lips, but none of the rest of it works. So he doesn't do that. And I don't know. Please don't sue me, Mick. I know you haven't done that. I saw you in Abu Dhabi on stage, and they're the world's greatest pub band. If you saw the gig I'm talking about, you'll know it's true, but one experience. So the point is that when you're looking at it, all those guys do it because they love doing it. It's in their hearts, it's in their soul, and it burns. But in the early days, it had a message to get out there. You know the average age of a rock star, when they have their biggest hitting years, is usually the age 27. You can Google that. Many of the big guys that don't survive, that lose, like Kurt Cobain, I think Amy Winehouse, a number of the big stars, 27 is the magic age, James Dean, when they don't survive longer. But that's also the age when their biggest stuff gets done. If you look at Elton John or Billy Joel or many of the biggest stars we have right now, they were a rebel at the age of 27. Then they have the first album that takes off and start making money, and all the stuff they're rebelling against doesn't work anymore. I hate being poor. I want to share my message. Oh, look at that money. Write another album then. But I'll write about being poor, but you're not poor. No, I'm not poor. I'll just do a nice album about drinking tea, eating biscuits, and looking out the window. It's not a big hit. No, it was my palate cleaning show. Point is that when they're hungry and they're angry, that's when they produce their best art. That's when you can get in and do the same. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you worried about your job, your industry? Are you worried that you won't leave a legacy and you'll move on without anybody knowing who you are and what you do? And your kids will have to find their own way. See how you're getting angry about this? It's true. Fear is your fire. When you look at my own particular core wounds, there's me on stage being very young. There's me. And one thing you won't notice it, or you might have noticed it straight away. I was the only black kid, the only mixed race kid most of my life. What's my core wound? Sorry, I was just snorting then, you noticed. We'll edit that out. My core wound is always being worried about fitting in, because I could never fit in. So I had to be front and center, but you could never take your foot off the accelerator, and it made me leave the UK. I won Blind Date, and I was working for the BBC, and I was getting close to getting some TV shows, but I didn't get any of them. And I realized I couldn't tread water, so I made the risk of leaving the UK, leaving my family, my friends, my girlfriend, everybody behind to start in a new country, Dubai. And I took that risk, but it worked out really well. But that core wound, that little kid that you can see there, that was still with me all the way through. And it can drive you every single day. Now, I'm not driven by that need to fit in anymore. I don't really care if people like me or don't like me. But what I do want is that fire's still there, that need to help people. It's actually come to a point where it's peaked. I've gotten to a point where I'm not desperate to show anything for me. I mean, this is something that I had to actually reinvent myself. I'd got to a point where I'd done as many things as I wanted to do. And I really had achieved everything I wanted to achieve. And it kind of left me going, right, Dave, what do you do next? And I know you're thinking, oh, what do you mean by that, Dave? Let me share with you what I'm talking about. I'd achieved all this. So if you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, the audio version, you're going, what did he do? What did he do? Nothing. I just showed you a video of me doing lots of different things with lots of famous people. But the point was, I kind of peaked and I stopped doing it. I didn't care anymore. I'd achieved everything I'd wanted to do to take care of my wound, my core wound of needing to be accepted and needing to be, proving who I was. And people should say, Dave's really good. And it never goes away. Even now, I end up with little microaggressions from people. I won't talk about that today. It's not the point in it. My point is that in order to help people, I've realized I've got to step back in again. As a grey warrior, as a guy who's 50 plus, I need to get back out there and jump in the saddle and ride off into the distance, bringing people with me and showing them how to be leaders and rock stars. And this is the best way I know how to do it. That's why I'm speaking on big stages in Saudi, and I've got stuff coming up in Malta, and I've got lots of other places around the world, and Dubai. I'm back in the saddle, doing the stuff to prove I can do what I do. So you've got to grow who you are constantly and challenge yourself as who you are as well. Because if you don't do that, you end up in a situation where you're thinking, well, what can I do with this? And it might not be enough for you. You might need to contribute to other people to help them to get to where they need to be as well. That team that you can see there with the stripes on is my team from Dubai Rugby Sevens. We worked together for about 18, 20 years. And I'm not saying I drove everybody to be at higher levels, but we did contribute to each other. And we had a job every single one of those years. Most of the people lasted for 20 years in a job, doing what they do, looking after all the different pitches and all the different events. And we had best part about 100,000 people coming to Dubai Rugby Sevens and something like 200 million people watching at home. So it wasn't a small thing. And then you can see a group of people have been teaching to speak on stage, to grow their brand and so on with my one-to-one classes. So right now I contribute, I help people to get their branding right, to become industry icons and position themselves as the best that they can be. Doing all the gigs that I've done, but you've got to prove with evidence of ongoing success. It's no good me showing you lots of pictures of me being younger. There's me with Bruce Willis, there's me dressed as a Joker at Rugby Sevens, there's me after winning an award as the best international motivational speaker and whatever, and wearing a suit. Yeah, you've never seen my legs before. They're not good, and I probably never fit in that suit again. But the point is, you've got to prove that you're doing it. If I'm going to prove to people now about becoming rock stars over the age of 50, or reinventing themselves, or becoming industry icons, or thought leaders, or game changers, I've got to do it to myself. And that's what the challenge is, and that's what the challenge I'm giving to myself to do at the same time. So how do you become a business rock star? Let's get through this quickly with some questions to throw at yourself. Okay, here's some questions, and I may do a proper show based on just this. Ask yourself this, right? I'm going to go small so you can see this better and make a note of everything that goes along. First question, what's stopping you from achieving business rock star status right now? Is it you? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it lack of knowledge? Is it because you don't have a roadmap? It could be any and all the above. Next question is this. How can you use public speaking to inspire and connect? So once you start speaking, whether it's public speaking to a large group or doing it on a podcast or jumping into social media and posting, because your voice is your voice. Doesn't matter whether you're actually speaking or doing a video or you're writing, it can still be that. So how do you do it? What are you going to choose to make it really make an impact? Number 3, what's missing from your rockstar branding? Everything, Dave. Yeah, that might be true, but the point is not that. The point is, now you know what's missing. What are you going to do to improve it? Next up is this. How does your social media, what does your social media need for social media? That's it. Put your teeth back in, Dave. They're back in. They're just wobbly. What does your social media, I should do it again, shouldn't I? I should pause it. Can we pause this button? We've got a pause button and going live on LinkedIn and Facebook and we haven't. Okay. So what does your social media need for your mission to work? What do you have to share with people? What do you have to say to make that a reality? Number 5, which book positions you as a thought leader? Not what you've read. Instead, if you wrote a book, what would the book be that would position you as a thought leader? How to make great cakes for parties. How to do people's accounts so they don't get so scared and they want to work with you for the next 20, 30 years. How to do accounts so people make it easy for you because you make it fun. I don't know what the book would be, but in your industry, there is something. Number 6 is this. What does your devoted fan base or tribe want? I know you're saying, Dave, I haven't got a fan base or a tribe, but if you start building yourself as a rock star, people do find you. That's why people are coming up to me in malls and saying, Dave, I want to work with you, and contacting me all the time, DMing me on LinkedIn or wherever it is, because they want to follow what I do so I can help them do it. The same will happen to you when you're positioned as a thought leader. So, what do they want? You got to work it out. Next up, number 7, how can you gauge the success of your rockstar growth? So you're starting off now thinking, oh, I'm interested, but I'm not sure what that is. If you get one person that connects with you as a direct result of positioning yourself as a rockstar, you have already doubled the amount of people who are thinking about it. So that's a good start. But what about if we get 10? What if 100, 100,000? What is it? Doesn't matter. The point is, how do you gauge it? How does it impact your life? Are you able to monetize it? Or are you going to vanity metrics? I've got 100,000 people that follow my stuff. Do you make any money? No. What do they do? They just love my videos of cats getting rescued from trees. Is that it? Yeah, they don't say anything else. They just say, lucky cat. That's your answer. Number 8, how can you amplify your message without diluting the impact? So how can you make it bigger and reach more people without losing the people who are your core fan base. And it's easily done. In music, you'll see that happen when somebody, well, here's what they call it. They've gone commercial. They've lost their core audience and they've made it open to more people. But as they go to more people, the more people kind of like it. Okay, it's all right. But the original people go, it's not the same. It doesn't have an edge to it anymore. It doesn't speak to me. It just feels commercial. It feels like it's overproduced. You know what I'm talking about? You don't know what I'm talking about. Think fast food. I know you like eating it, but what about... Anyway, the point is this. Number 9. Who's your favorite business rock star and why? You can model yourself on somebody. All the greats did the same thing. Now, I haven't shown you. I'll maybe do it next time. Show you my interview with James Brown. Really? Yes, I'm that old. James Brown. Now, James Brown, Michael Jackson modeled himself on James Brown. You might not know that, but he did. He followed him, worked with him, saw how he danced, saw how he worked audiences. That's how he learned his trade. Many of the artists now look at the people who were in my day and say, I followed them, and you can see it. There's a reinvention, just like fashion. It goes round and round and round, just like somebody who just wants to fall over and bang their head. Okay, and last but not least is this, number 10. Your question is, first and next steps towards becoming a business rock star. What do you do? Well, the first thing you should do is connect with me. Make sure that you DM me, follow me on social media, and get into my group. So my WhatsApp group is free, and also you can connect with me on the many paid programs, memberships, and also get me to work with you directly if that's what you're after, and contact me and see if it all stacks up and it works for both of us on that. I'm going to leave you with a thought about becoming an industry icon. An industry icon is a thought leader, and I've been working with people for many years since the pandemic because I had to reinvent myself to be able to help people to get to that level. What's an industry icon? I'm going to show you right now with this video. Ready? Here we go. Hi, I'm Dave Crane, an ex-BBC journalist who transforms decision makers and business owners who are feeling unknown and scared to speak on stage into highly respected and branded industry experts who are frequently getting offered 5, 6, and even 7-figure contracts to do exactly what they did before. During the pandemic, I lost everything except the belief that, like me, the world is full of frustrated leaders and game changers with untapped potential and brilliant ideas who felt time was always against them because they were worth much, much more and just needed help to learn to jump and grow wings on the way down. And so that's what I do. I help create industry icons. Imagine being in constant demand, headhunted and interviewed because you're the visionary whose life purpose and passion are aligned. So every single day you wake up smiling, truly happy, only doing what you want, when you want, and having plenty of time to spend with those you love. I created the Industry Icon program to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you to fly. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life worth living. Here's what you do next. Go to theindustryicon.com and register to work with me. Together, we'll build your legacy. And then, as an industry icon, you too can change the world. So there you go. That's what I do with the Industry Icon program. Any questions you have, let me know. Feel free. Put them into the comments, and you can contact me directly for all the many social media things if you want to know more about it and so on. I did give you the QR codes at the beginning of today's session. Go back and find them. Any questions you have, feel free to do so. There is a roadmap. There is a way of getting from not knowing where you are, which is where you become aware of all the challenges, to becoming an industry icon and start to own your industry so people know who you are and say, oh yeah, you're the person who does this. And they understand that you become a verb. That's what the intention is. But there is a roadmap and a system for being able to get there. It's about creating your legacy. And the older that you get, the more you start to realize that we aren't going to be around forever. and you don't really care. But what it would be nice to know is that you are actually helping the next generation to be able to get there. And here's the thing that I specialize in helping people to do. Imagine creating your legacy right now. Imagine creating a legacy that's so effective that while you're alive, you can enjoy it and also make a ton of money on the back of doing it. Now you're probably thinking, but I'm not a speaker. You don't have to be a speaker. Only the yellow circle is actually about speaking. The rest of it are different elements like coaching and inspiring or influencing or creating deals by introducing people through joint ventures and affiliates and so on. I will go through this in greater depth in a future session. I don't want to take too much time to overstay my welcome, but there is a system and it can be done with signature projects that allow you to get your branding right, public speaking, attracting fans, overcoming your imposter syndrome, launching a TV show or a podcast, creating great content that people want to work with, writing books and courses online and so on, organizing events and retreats that people can pay to come and see you, monetizing your expertise, and most of all, creating that legacy. That's what I specialize in doing, and that's what I want to help do for you. We've got lots of programs for doing that, and I know that when you start working with me, you'll find that it makes a huge difference. Who you are and what you do is really important. So I'm going to take you back. This is where we started, how to be a business rock star. If you want to do it, join our QR code there, which is to join the WhatsApp group, which is absolutely free. There you go, just get the QR code. You can pause this and say, right, where's my phone gone? Or go back to the very beginning. That's the first stage. From there, I'll teach you everything you need. That's enough of me. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's been an honor spending time on Speak on Stage. Look after yourself. I'll catch you for the next show. But remember, every single week, we do two things. We go live like this with the face-to-face show, but we also do an audio version on LinkedIn on a Friday lunchtime. That's 1 o'clock Dubai time. And you can jump in, ask questions, and it's more like a clinic, a business clinic, to share ideas and hopefully help you to get you to where you need to be. Bring up the questions that you've got during this show, and I'll answer them all live on the podcast version of this, which goes out on, and you can only catch it live as well, and that's going to be on Friday at lunchtime. Details will be in my profile here in LinkedIn. So that's it from me. Look after yourself. Hope you enjoyed the show. Give your comments, your thoughts, share it with everybody who needs to know that they're also a rock star. I'll catch up with you soon. It's been an honor and a pleasure spending quality time with you. Check out the podcasts across the board, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and various other places like Speak on Stage. Look after yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Ha! You wondered what I was going to do then. Bye!